welcome to the program, coming to you straight from India House. My name is Catherine Mwangi. This is What's Your Story on KTN Home. So honored and privileged today to be having a conversation with the High Commissioner of India to Kenya, Dr. Virander. Now, did you know in 2017, that's about what, 5 years ago, the Kenya government recognized Asians of Indian descent as a tribe. So India is the 44th tribe in Kenya. And something else, Dr. Paul, doctor, is doctor, like he went to school to study medicine, then now he's a diplomat. So how does one do that? How do you transition? How do you pivot? So let's go meet him. Let's go learn some Indian, hopefully, and get this story on the road. Sir, Your Excellency.
Good morning,
Good morning.
and welcome to India House.
Thank you so much, sir.
I'm delighted to welcome you to India.
Thank you. You look smashing.
Oh, thank you.
I
Thank you
love
so
it.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Catherine, I don't know if you have ever been to India, but your
Yes.
visit to India House is technically a visit to India. So welcome to India.
I mean, India in Nairobi.
Yeah.
Basically, more or less.
Absolutely.
But anyway, thank you for inviting us here. So, by the way, there's so many similarities between our two countries, and for our government to recognize India as a tribe in Kenya, it just says there's so much history there. So, how did Indians first come to Kenya?
You know, it's a long story.
Okay.
Indians began to come to what is now Kenya even before the so-called European exploration. It was centuries ago that Indians had maritime links with people in this part of the world. And then came the European exploration.
Right.
But in more recent times, it was the British, you know, during the British rule, when Indians were brought in large numbers.
Yes.
And I think the first wave of Indians, called by the British was around 1895-96, when Indians were brought to Mombasa to begin construction of Mombasa, Uganda railways.
Right.
And after that, a large number of Indians made Kenya home. And today, sometimes I get surprised that, we come across Indians of, Kenyans of Indian origin here in this beautiful country, fifth generation, sixth generation, and they are so happy and so well integrated in the Kenyan society. So there's a long history.
You're right.
Kenyans of Indian origin have been a great asset to us.
I like that, and also have to recognize the fact that our industry, our economy is strong because of Indian industrialists, in this country as well. That spirit of entrepreneurship, business, Indians have that mindset of just wanting to succeed no matter what, and we see businesses for many generations handing over. Is it a cultural thing in India?
I would say yes. The spirit of enterprise is I would say, very, very Indian, and it's very visible in this country. But the role of Indian industry or people of Indian descent who have worked so hard in nation building of this country, I think it began when they first arrived in Kenya, and they had the opportunities, they had all the support and such affectionate welcome by the Kenyan society that they could do what they did. And now we are very pleased to see the role played by Indians, the Indian industry, the business community in Kenya's nation building. And they have also served as a very important bridge between India and Kenya. Adding a lot to our larger relationship.
That is true. So for Kenya to recognize India as a 44th tribe here, do you know fast Swahili?
Yes.
You do?
No, I wish I did.
Yeah, even the basic habari, asante.
Habari, asante sana.
You know those words,
Asante
because at least I know namaste.
No.
I know Didi, I know some words, basically because we've been exposed to some Indian Bollywood content here. So that's also huge, because I actually am told, or rather I've read, that Bollywood is more lucrative than Hollywood. Is that true? Would you know?
I won't say no. I won't be able to back up my answer with,
Okay.
with statistics.
Okay.
But the very fact that Bollywood is so very popular,
Yes.
and many Indians, aspire to be Bollywood stars.
Yes.
I think there must be a lot of truth in what we are saying.
I like that. Sounded very, 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 very well said. So, and speaking of our similarities as well. So yes, I've been to India, Delhi, Hyderabad, Mumbai. My best was Mumbai, and the street food. It reminded me of Mombasa in the evenings, where again the street food concept is there. So one of our similarities as well. So what would you speak to how Indian food has gelled into Kenyan culture and vice versa?
I think Indian food is not only popular in Kenya, but some of the elements of Indian cuisine have been so well integrated.
Yeah.
I'll recall an incident. Many years ago, I happened to be in New York, and one of my Kenyan friends invited me home, and he said, today the dinner is Kenyan.
Yes.
I went there, and we had chapati, we had Indian style vegetables.
Yes.
And you know what's dal? And of course, there was ugali.
Yes.
But the table looked very Indian.
Yes.
So I think it was a very good mix of Kenyan cuisine and also the Indian cuisine, how it has been integrated and adapted into the Kenyan cuisine.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of commonality between our eating habits.
Yes.
And it largely depends on the locally available stuff. But in terms of, I think, our tastes, to me, they are fairly similar.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can tell that by the number of Indian restaurants in this country.
Yeah.
That alone is proof that, it's something that we Kenyans consider also palatable and similar to our culture. So what about India can you tell us that people generally in this country do not know? What makes India unique?
I think the pluralism of India is something which we need to expose a little more to the Kenyan people, even though they are much aware of what India is, what India is all about, what India stands for. But predominantly, the Indian origin community in Kenya, they are from Gujarat. Many are from Punjab.
Yes.
But from other states are, what counties are here in Kenya. But from other Indian states, we don't have that many people. But I would like to say that, there's a lot more about India that we need to learn.
Yeah.
And, our Kenyan friends need to know.
Yes.
The pluralism of India, pluralism in every sense of the word, whether it's language, cuisines, costumes, faiths, and the rest of it. India is a highly pluralistic country. That is not to say that Kenyans are not, that Kenyans are new to pluralism. You yourself have, now 44 tribes in your country.
Yes.
And different tribes having their distinct subcultures and having their own languages. So that is something again very similar to what we have in India. Different counties, different states, different people, different food, different languages, different traditions. So I think this is one of the reasons, the pluralistic characteristics of our two societies that bring us closer together.
Yes. And something else that stands out for India, from what I have seen or even read, if you look at Silicon Valley, almost everyone running those tech institutions is Indian. How do you explain that? Do you guys start learning tech from when you are?
I think we have traditionally, since the ancient times, a strong tradition of teaching and learning. And traditionally, mathematics and pure sciences have been subjects of great interest to Indians. Again, this is, maybe centuries ago.
Yes.
And I mean, this is not the only way to explain, why so many techies are there dominating Silicon Valley, not just the Silicon Valley of the Americas, but elsewhere as well. The tradition of higher learning.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is the rigor of academics in India. You know, if we set out to do something
Yeah.
on any in any area,
Yeah.
particularly in academic disciplines,
Yes.
I think it's very hard to stop us.
Yes. And speaking of academic disciplines, you are a medical doctor turned diplomat, which is a story we shall come back to after the commercial break. You do not want to miss it, of course, as well as his journey as a diplomat, of course, starting with as a doctor, and something else you do not want to miss. It's very close to my heart, Ayurveda.
You know, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, but
Yeah?
I'll try my best
You
to
will?
answer. But
Okay.
it's not an easy one to answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll go have a seat, take a break, don't go too far, we'll be back.
Yes, thank you. And I went there to study the Russian language as a language training. And that was the time when the Soviet Union had just collapsed, and Kazakhstan and the other 14, all the 15 republics had become suddenly independent. So that was very interesting historically, to be a part of that piece of history, you know, on that land.
Yeah. Welcome back to the program. It's What's Your Story here on KTN Home. I'm Catherine Mwangi here at India House. The residence of the High Commissioner to India in Kenya, Dr. Virander, as you hear, doctor, it's not just conferred on him, he went to school to study medicine. What's that like? Well, why medicine and then you pivot to diplomacy? But let's start with what function of medicine did you study?
I joined medicine. You know, I joined the medical school in 1982, and I was there in the medical school for about 10 years. So I finished my basic, you know, the primary medical qualification, which in India we say MBBS. And having done that, I joined a specialization, ophthalmology, eye surgery.
So are there any differences with how you practice it then and now?
Ophthalmology,
Yeah.
I think huge. The difference is huge. You know, I left medicine in 1990, which is what, close to 32 years. And technology in microsurgical disciplines have really changed the way doctors examine the patients, how they diagnose and how they manage different conditions.
Yeah.
And in ophthalmology, I think there's hardly anything that is there which I studied besides the basics of ophthalmology, you know, the structure and functions of the various parts of eye. Technology has made a huge difference.
Yes.
For the better.
How many years did you practice?
You know, all in all, as I said, you know, I was there in the medical school for about 10 years before I chose to quit medicine, you know, if I may use the word quit. But when I look back, I think I never really quit. I mean, I've never left my first calling.
Okay.
Even though I changed my vocation from medicine to diplomacy. Now, I have been in the Foreign Service since 1991, so again, you know, more than 30 years. But medicine is still very much a part of me,
Yeah.
a very important part of me.
Yeah.
Because as they say, once a doctor, once a doctor, always a doctor.
Yes. So what necessitated the shift from medicine to diplomacy?
Oh,
Why was diplomacy attractive?
that's a hard one, you know, that's a hard one to answer. There are some questions, you know, which can be answered in a million ways. Well, this is not one of them, you know.
Okay.
You know, I have to be very direct.
Yeah.
And as clear as possible. And I've been trying to answer this question to many friends in all these years.
Yeah.
But very briefly, what I would like to say is that you know, when one is young, one is more idealistic, and the thinking is very strong. And I guess, it was in my case as well. I was all of 25 or 26 when I began to think in that direction. And, one main reason which triggered this thinking of changing my vocation was the specialization I chose. So I wrote this civil services exam, which is, an all India examination for civil services. And it is not that, I wrote that exam for joining foreign service. It was just a civil services exam. I wrote the exam. It so happened that I cleared that exam. And, when I look back now, I think I had that luxury of choice that either I moved to civil service, which is in India, it's a reasonably prestigious thing to do, or I continue with medicine. So I had a good choice.
Yes.
And I choose to quit medicine.
Yes.
And I joined the foreign service, and I haven't looked back.
No. And no regrets.
There have been bouts of regret every now and then,
Okay.
but most of it was very early on in my career in the foreign service, when I was still settling in. But not anymore. I have, as I said, I have internalized medicine into my system.
Yes.
The way I think, the way I view things, the way I try to analyze and handle things, it's very medical. So I think in many ways it has helped me in handling the various situations I come across, as a diplomat. And so I think that way medicine continues with me.
Yeah.
I haven't left it.
No.
And medicine hasn't left me either.
No, it's a relationship that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Would you go back to it maybe after retirement?
I won't rule it out.
Okay.
Because what if I'm not a diplomat? The clear answer is that I'm a doctor. But having said that, I think it will involve a lot of hard work on my part.
So, Your Excellency, you've been to some really, you've served your country in some really exotic places around the world. Russia comes to mind, the UK, the US, and Italy. So, what has that experience been like for you generally? Like, which is the most fascinating place? If I was to be presumptuous, I would say Russia. But it's your story to tell.
The experiences of having served in all these countries that you mentioned, I think they have been very excitingly and amazingly diverse, because they are all very diverse settings, including Kenya actually.
Okay.
But before I come to my experiences, I think what has been underlying all these years representing India, I think it's a matter of great honor and privilege to be representing your country in a foreign land. And that is something that keeps you going, promoting your national interests in different territories around the world. But as I said, each situation, each country has been very different. I started off in 1991, and my first posting was in Kazakhstan. Almaty was the capital then. And then, it was not Almaty, it's Alma-Ata. And I went there to study the Russian language as a language training. And that was the time when the Soviet Union had just collapsed, and Kazakhstan and the other 14, all the 15 republics had become suddenly independent. So that was very interesting historically, to be a part of that piece of history, on that land.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Russia. I went to Vladivostok as a consul general. I was there for a little more than 2 years. And then I came to India, and I was doing India's relations with Russia at headquarters in my ministry. And then it went on and on. But all in all, I have spent almost 10 years in Russia. So I think it's very natural to be as they say, get Russianized in a way, by getting Russianized, I would say, by getting familiar to the Russian way of life,
yeah.
the Russian culture, and the rest of it. And I really enjoyed my postings in Russia. Then I've spent some time in Italy. Again, Italy, Italian culture, the architecture, the way of life, the Italian food, very distinct.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed myself there. Then, I was in Washington for about 3 years, and there, my job was I was Minister of Press. So, I was dealing very closely with your tribe, journalists. So it was basically public affairs. So I was dealing with the media and the think tanks and people in public life in general. Tremendous opportunity for me to connect with Americans in public affairs, including the media. So that was quite a learning experience. And in many ways, I would say that that opportunity added, some value to me as a person.
Yes.
That exposure. I was in London, again for almost 4 years. I mean, the British, since we have experienced British rule in our country, like you have in Kenya. So there is a lot of underlying sense of familiarity, not just the English language, but it was very easy to live. The people are very friendly.
Yeah.
And the large Indian diaspora in that country also helped me a great deal to not only understand the contemporary Britain, what they aspire for, and also what they look for in their relations with India. So I think it was quite an experience, a different kind. Then I moved to Geneva. I was working in the Indian mission to the United Nations in Geneva. A lot of multilateral work, very specialized kind of work.
Yeah.
Whether it's WHO or ILO or intellectual property or human rights, development, so many things, telecommunications. So in these new areas of international cooperation, which are getting more and more important, so I think I learned a lot. I tried my best to contribute to India's positions in these areas, and from there, I went to Delhi, my headquarters. There I was dealing with India's relations with the neighboring countries in a multilateral context. We have these two regional organizations called SAARC and BIMSTEC, so I was assigned that job, which I really enjoyed. And then Kenya happened.
Yeah. Was it your first time in Africa?
In a way.
Okay.
In a way, because before arriving in Nairobi in September of 2020, my only encounter with Africa, literally, was in the year 2007, or I think it was 2007, when I visited Kampala. I mean, that was the only African exposure that I had. But having come here to Kenya, I'm already, a little more than 1.5 years. I can quite claim that I know Kenya a bit.
Yeah? Okay.
Thanks to, friends like you, and I've made many friends.
Yes.
Not just the Indian community, but
even the locals.
Yeah,
You've engaged with the locals.
It's an amazing place.
Yeah.
It's an amazing country.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think makes us amazing?
It's both the place and the people. That's what defines any territory.
Yeah.
So Kenya, being a very friendly country, traditionally very close to India, and it's not just the Indian community here. The Indian community here has played a very important role in our friendship, but I'll go even further back in history. It's the traditional links, and the Indian Ocean waters. I always say they don't separate us. They unite us, and they have united us for centuries.
Yes.
And it's a very profound connection, I must say,
yes.
historically. and there is a very strong sense of belonging, a very strong sense of ownership in each other's cultures. You know, it's instant.
Yes.
You know, you click
The connection,
instantly,
yes.
that connect. Sometimes it's very hard to explain, but it's a fact.
Yes.
And this is what I felt here. The people are very warm and friendly. I don't have to exert too much to explain myself or to explain what India is.
Yes.
You know, you already know what India
Yes.
is all about.
Yes.
And that makes my life and work easier. I must say, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's good to hear. So just to give some clarity to viewers watching maybe who may want to get into diplomacy, when you're sent by your country to represent wherever, what is expected of you? Just the basics. What are you expected to do for your country wherever it is you go?
I think what's fundamental is that any diplomat representing any country, a diplomat should have a very deep sense of national interest. You know, my own country, like I'm an Indian diplomat.
Yeah.
The most fundamental thing is that I must fully understand my own country's interests, the larger interests in India's engagement with the outside world. And if I come to Kenya, India's interest with Kenya, or India's interest in India's relations with Kenya.
Yeah.
So this knowledge and this appreciation is something which you can't do without. It's fundamental. In addition, I think what a diplomat is expected to do in terms of promoting India's interest and even protecting India's interest is willingness to be a diplomat. You should be willing to do that work. And in addition, the ability to connect with your foreign friends, your interlocutors, the ability to communicate, and here I would stress the importance of cross-cultural communications, because you know, with Kenya, as I said, it may be easy to communicate because there is an underlying sense of you know, warmth and friendship.
Yes.
That already exists. But in some societies, in some countries, you know, it's not easy. It may be difficult because culturally the understanding of various issues can be different, even though the larger objective is the same.
Yeah.
But you know, we really need to effectively communicate with each other that I mean this and you also mean this.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
communications, that's very important. And a general ability and interest in international affairs, what's going around the world. Because you know, every relationship is embedded in a larger ecosystem. So if I say something about India's relations with Kenya, they are embedded in India's relations with Africa.
Yes.
India's relations with Africa are embedded in India's relations with the developing world.
So having been in it for what, 3 decades now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What challenges have you had to overcome?
First of all is your own well-being in a foreign land. You know, one has to be comfortable, at ease. And there, that situation doesn't depend on you alone. You know, the host country. You know, what host country offers you, the atmosphere that you live and work in. You know, if it is conducive to good functioning, it helps. If it is not, it's a challenge. This is one. Secondly, you know, the nature of work, that offers you challenges. Most recently, you know, what we saw in the larger context of the situation around the Ukraine conflict, you know, over 20,000 students got stuck, you know, with no fault of theirs in that part of the world. they were studying there.
Yeah.
And the conflict erupted, and they began to even suffer. Their safety and security, the future of their academics, because they were studying in universities there.
Yeah.
A lot of anxiety and even a lot of fear. So it was the job of our embassies there in those countries to help ease their situation, and even enable them to return to India till such time things get better. And it was in recent times, I think this is one of the biggest challenges that we had. And I think my colleagues working in those embassies, those Indian missions, they did a great job with the support of our leadership and people at headquarters. I think, but it was not easy.
No.
It was a big challenge.
Yeah.
So the host governments helped us, the students themselves helped us, and a lot of hard work, a lot of planning. So these kind of situations, and even other conflict situations, to repatriate Indians back to India. And another, similar situation I would like to mention is, the COVID. When the COVID crisis was at its peak, this is towards the end of 2019, no 2020, and in the middle of 2021. Again, to send people back to India. People stranded. International travel has come to a halt.
Yes.
And the government of India, my own ministry, we facilitated travel of stranded Indians back to India. And even in the process, for instance, in case of Kenya, stranded Kenyans in India to get them home.
Yes.
The flights going there, bringing them back home. Again, it was not easy. It was not just the air travel, it was not just the COVID restrictions. It was quite a challenge in terms of, the human endurance, to keep calm and to deliver what you are assigned to deliver. So diplomats and other functionaries in various countries, we managed it, but these are not easy situations, these are not easy times. So in the life of a diplomat, it's not just all milk and honey, as they say, or diplomats or their life might appear to be very luxurious or glamorous at times, but trust me, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
It may not be that easy. Sometimes it can really get difficult. So there are a variety of challenges. We live and learn.
Yeah.
We live and encounter new challenges and deal with them.
So it's a balance because it's fluid and it's also not boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you wake up today.
You never have a dull moment in your life. There is one thing or the other that keeps you busy.
Yeah. Okay. So being here in Kenya since mid 2020, what strides have you made to further enhance the relationship between our two countries?
The first thing is that what every ambassador does is to raise the relationship to a new, higher orbit, if I may use that expression, a new, higher orbit of the relationship, basically to raise it to, greater heights.
Yeah.
But during my times, it has been, it has coincided with the arrival of the virus actually, the coronavirus.
Yes. Some
people joke that, coronavirus landed in Kenya in the same flight as I did, But that's not true. Corona had landed earlier. But, despite the coronavirus challenges, we have tried, both, my Kenyan interlocutors and us in the High Commission, to do what is required to be done. On the trade and economic side, I think we are progressing. The trade levels have increased despite the corona challenges. In addition, we have focused more, and for understandable reasons, more on the healthcare side. I mean, you are aware there are so many Kenyan friends suffering from, some ailments for which, you don't have adequate a treatment in Kenya, they go to India, and sometimes they have to spend extraordinary amounts of money to get a treatment. So my discussions with the healthcare people in this country and also the officials is that let's do something new or something modified, where the cost to the patient comes down. One is to ease their travel to India. They get good treatment in India at different places, and also to think of new ways and means to bring Indian expertise from India to Kenya, where the patient need not travel all the time. For example, if a patient got a surgery done in India, for follow-ups, he or she need not go there every month. There could be systems in place where there are either teleconsultations or the doctors enabled to visit Kenya for short periods, and they examine their patients and go back. So I think there are new possibilities of making things better, and I hope that in the times to come we will enable this kind of a thing. Then there's something which I've been working on, is again because of the underlying commonalities between the Kenyan and the Indian societies. The role of traditional systems of medicine. Like in Kenya. Now I'll tell you very briefly. When I visited Naivasha a few months ago, I stayed in a place where they have a Maasai museum there, and a part of the museum is about Maasai medicine. So various herbs and the tribal methodologies of healing the sick, and that set me thinking that we do the same thing in India, maybe in different ways. So traditional system of medicine, I think there is a potential, tremendous potential for us to work together. And Ayurveda, yoga, Unani, other Indian systems, I think there is a lot of appetite in this country to consume the goodness of traditional system of medicine. This is another area I'm working on, and in the months to come, I think there'll be something more visible to show what we have done. I would also like to add, which is just struck my mind. It was last month, I visited Taita Taveta County, and there, as you know, Taita Taveta County was, home to a battlefield where Indian soldiers and Kenyan soldiers, they fought side by side in the First World War. The East African theater of the First World War, not many people know about it. So, the African soldiers and Indian soldiers, they made huge sacrifices there, and the world doesn't know much about it. It's not that they don't want to know, but they don't know because there is very little recorded history of that. So, we have erected a memorial in the honor of Indian soldiers there who fought with the African soldiers alongside, against the other forces. There is a similar memorial that was put in place. It's called African Soldier. It's some distance away from there, and that was placed there and inaugurated, I think in 2017. And the First World War ended in 1918. It took 100 years for us to do something visible in the memory, in the honored memory of those soldiers. And right now, we also have, in addition, an India corner. There's a lodge called Taita Hills Safari Lodge. And in the corner, we have set up an India corner, again, to put some artifacts, some, material, showcasing what the Indians have done by way of contributing to that war effort, fighting alongside their African brothers before either India or Kenya became independent. You know, it's a very fascinating piece of history. So this is what we have done, and with the help of Kenyan Defence Forces and also Taita Taveta County, I think we should do more about it. So, you know, we have trade and economic engagement, we have you know, agriculture, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, people-to-people contacts, the cultural affinity that we have together. So there is a large and very rich menu of cooperation that we have between India and Kenya.
Yes.
A lot to do.
Yeah.
And a lot to do together.
Yeah.
And you know, there are signs of the COVID crisis receding. I think we will have a lot of work to do together. And I'm looking forward to it.
You just taught me something I didn't know we have in our country, in that taste. I didn't know.
Yeah.
It's actually very fascinating.
Even, you know, to tell you the truth,
Yeah.
even I didn't know.
Okay.
I knew about the role of Indian soldiers in the East African theatre of the First War, but I didn't quite know how much can be known. You know, if one tries, and this also is sort of a joint effort, and whatever we have done was enabled by our African friends, by our Kenyan friends. It's not that I just imagined it suddenly. It was told to us, and then we had a good conversation about this.
Yeah.
And what has been done, I think, is a joint effort.
Yeah.
And I'm quite upbeat about it. I'm quite enthused, and it's largely because of the support of my Kenyan friends.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's just such amazing information. So I want to just go a bit back to the healthcare aspect, the Ayurveda, which, as you know by now, totally fascinates me. And I think majority of Kenyans were first enlightened of it when His Excellency Raila Odinga's daughter, there was, should I say, a miraculous breakthrough with her sight, where, and I remember it trended for almost 2-3 days on Twitter, you know, everyone just wondering how did this happen, because they had taken her to all of these big hospitals in big countries that are known for excellence in Medicare, and Ayurveda is where the breakthrough came.
Yeah.
So for those who would not know what that is, and I know you touched a bit on it when you compared it to the Naivasha Masai Museum, but what's the genesis of it in India?
The genesis of Ayurveda.
Yes.
You know, before I come to that, let me very briefly touch upon the experience of Mr. Odinga's daughter.
Yeah.
You know, there is a small video that she has done. She gave an interview to an Indian news agency. It's available on the YouTube. And I learned quite a bit from that interview. Now, she suffered from a condition for which she went from country to country for treatment. It was basically, you know, loss of eyesight. And the modern medicine in different countries, including European countries, didn't quite help. And then she was advised to, you know, try Ayurvedic treatment in India. I think she was introduced by someone, and she visited India, a state called Kerala. She visited a hospital, and what dramatic improvement. I mean, you listen to that video, I mean, listen to her in that video clip. I mean, it's so dramatic, the improvement. And this in itself is a testimony to the efficacy of this system of medicine. Now, Ayurveda is a traditional system of medicine, and it is centuries, thousands of years old. And the very fact that it has survived all these centuries and it is benefiting patients even today, even in conditions where the Western medicine is not quite succeeding. So it means a lot. It's very telling in terms of its efficacy, and a lot of research is going on Ayurveda and allied medical disciplines to study the efficacy and also the conditions where it can be effective. So a lot is going on. So it's an ancient system with a lot of potential. And you know, in developing countries, I think we should pay a lot of more attention to the system of medicine, because the Western system of medicine, what we call allopathy, is effective. Again, you know, I'm not saying that we can live without it. It's very, very essential in today's day and age. But you know, when we are talking about universal health coverage, you know, the basic health coverage, you know, like basic health coverage is one of the you know, the big four agenda of the government here in Kenya. Likewise, in India, we have, you know, providing health care to each and everyone in the country. The governments alone, or one system alone, can't really do all that is required to be done. So we should fully exploit and fully employ the potential that traditional systems offer. So here lies the importance of India-Kenya cooperation in traditional medicine. Ayurveda is one of them. I know a few people who are very willing to train Ayurveda or traditional doctors, traditional system of doctors, you know, in Kenya. They are even keen and willing and very excited to come to Kenya to train the Kenyan doctors, and also to set up facilities, you know, new facilities in this country. And once it gets started in this country, then it can be a self-sustained kind of an effort. But you know, I'll be very happy to facilitate further promotion of cooperation in traditional system of medicine.
Amazing. So as we wind up, Your Excellency, do you live by any mantras?
Keep working hard.
Keep working hard.
Keep working hard. You know, the other day somebody used the expression overnight success. I said this is wrong. Success can't be overnight. If it is overnight, it's not success. It's hard work. There is no substitute to hard work in every endeavor in human life. And I mean, if you call it mantra, or if you call it my belief, my conviction, that's what I believe in. And your parting shot? At the risk of being accused of trying to be politically correct, I would say, you know, Kenya is beautiful. Kenya is beautiful.
Thank you. What a powerful close. It was that is very uplifting to hear. But thank you so much for having this conversation with us.
Thanks to you. Thanks to you.
I absolutely loved, especially what you talked about, you transitioning from medic to diplomacy, and you just said there's no answer to that. You know, like, you cannot explain. There's some things you cannot fully explain. But at the end of the day, I mean, look what happened. So it was always on your path, either way. But that for me was very profound.
Well, thanks to you. Thank you so much. You know, in Indian culture and in various Indian subcultures, to welcome a guest at home is a big honor. And you know, I would say that it was my honor to have you here. And I was really delighted to have this conversation with you. I hope it was okay.
Oh, it was amazing. Thank you. And to you watching, we hope you have gleaned something about the Indian culture, or those who are aspiring to get into diplomacy, you have heard for yourself what it takes and what you can expect. And it's not solid, it's not cast in stone. It keeps changing. It's fluid, and like His Excellency said, unpredictable. The show goes up on YouTube after this, and a repeat this coming Tuesday at 10 p.m. Thank you so much for making the time to watch. From here at India House, how do you say goodbye in one of the languages you speak? Punjab, Hindi, Russian? No, it has to be Hindi. Hindi.
We can say namaskar.
Namaste.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. That's goodbye.
Namaste also is okay, but namaskar is a more traditional way of saying it.
Okay. So again, from here
Namaskar.
at India House, Namaskar.